So, welcome to this session of What's the Plan? This webinar is part of an ongoing series that we have at Design Owl that aims to spotlight progressive architecture that is emergent in India and in other parts of the world. So, with us this afternoon is Fawaz Thengilan, a co-founder of Mitti. Fawaz is a graduate of the College of Engineering, Trivandrum, and has started his individual practice from 2011. He has had a keen interest in sustainable architecture and has conducted workshops on urban architecture at MSA Muvatapuza and has been associated with workshops of the Gustavino Vault at CET Trivandrum, the Nubium Vault at HCCA Ernakulam, and has also been associated with the design and construction of a pavilion for the Biennale in 2014. More recently, he has also been associated with workshops and that have been conducted on earthen architecture at Shulgin. So welcome, Fawaz. I'm really delighted to have you as part of this session. The work that you do is truly exceptional. So I'd really like to get into the discussion straight away and ask you a little bit more about the practice and the genesis of Mitti, really. And what were the early days of the firm like? And how did that kind of unravel?
So, a very good evening to everyone. Thank you, Design Owl, for having me. And it is my first online interview. I'm excited as well as nervous. Thank you. And regarding your question, during COVID, until COVID, I was practicing for a decade. So during COVID, I got this opportunity to start afresh. I was invited to a community farm to do model houses called Santiti Firm in Shoolagiri. It's in Tamil Nadu, near to Bangalore, outskirts of Bangalore. So there is first few projects we thought we'll make it exclusive for the farm, and I partnered with Mr. Vishnu to start an eco-friendly construction firm called Mitti. That was his origin. Now, regarding early days, it was really exciting. First of all, COVID restricted a lot of things, availability of materials, everything. In every sense, you are restricted. So it was exciting to find new challenges and stuff. And I got to hand this new technology called poured debris wall, which is a fusion of poured technique and debris wall technique. So the perfecting of the technology was going on by building the walls initially. Then there was training of local laborers. All those things was happening. So yeah.
Wonderful. And so this was essentially started in 2019, is this entire effort of Mitti and the effort that you're engaged with. But a key part of what you're doing has to do with really green buildings and sustainable buildings. So really green is a term that means different things to different people. The sort of definition of that can be very varied, and it also is very broad in some contexts in terms of what classifies as a green building. So I'm interested to know really what is your thought of what a green building should be. Could you share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, first of all, I wasn't fascinated about the like making excited about making green buildings. I was doing a lot of sustainable things out of curiosity and stuff to learn and stuff. So as anyone, I know as much as a green building by definition itself. So it is being a resource efficient construction, having less impact on environment, costing less on energy and resources in terms of maintenance. So all these things are taken care in some sense through these workshops and stuff I have been to, like I have conducted, I have been part of several workshops. I was working with a few mentors who was aggressively into this alternative techniques. So I wasn't fascinated about the word green or green building, but yeah, it is relevant and it is a need of the hour, and we should be looking more deeper into it.
And essentially, what is the ethos of the practice of Mitti? I mean, now that you've actually decided to take this step forward and formalize the studio, so what is really the kind of architecture that you believe one should practice today?
Yeah. So as Mitti, we want to do exceptional buildings. Sustainability and environment friendly are secondly to quality of design. Why so? Because a lot amongst us are really doing good in sustainability, but less focused to inspire when high carbon footprint buildings uh, with interesting designs are stealing the attention. So we want to be with the later to do buildings that can like inspire people as well as cohabit humans with the surroundings. So we want to humbly cohabit our buildings with the surroundings, yet loudly speak for itself to inspire everyone in practicing environment friendly construction.
And you don't believe these are necessarily at crossroads with each other in the sense a sustainable building and a luxurious or a modern building like you're aspiring to create. You don't believe that there is a conflict between these two ideas?
Um, yeah, in Indian scenario, it's a myth that sustainable should be traditional looking and not luxurious and modern. So we were looking the idea of luxury, relooking the idea of luxury in a different ways, like scale and quality of spaces, intricate details, craftsmanship, etc. So we don't have to buy luxury products for sense of luxury, but rather give an experience of luxury.
So we have some of these slides of this project of yours, Flintstone 6 at Shulgiri. So first, before we dive into the project, I understand why Flintstone, but why 6? Could you elaborate on why it's called what it has been called?
Thing is, when we came, it was named plot number 6. So we were familiar with 6. All of a sudden, you can't tell anybody that, like, for any worker, you go and correct the issue in Flintstone. So they'll be like, so yeah, 6 stands.
All right.
Flintstone was named by the client, and 6, it was there.
Wonderful. So, Fawaz, when we were speaking the last time, you mentioned that this project is located in a very interesting climatic zone and a very interesting ecological zone. Could you talk a little bit about the context of this project and what really makes it a unique location?
First of all, Sanctity Ferme, the community farm, is located in Chuligiri in Tamil Nadu. It's geographically in Deccan Plateau, southern Deccan Plateau. So it's a generally a dry and arid climate. Last few years, climate is a bit shifting drastically towards hot and humid, but otherwise it's generally a dry, arid climate. So the main occupation here it is mostly farming and quarry. So most of the land is untouched and the diverse flora and fauna are still intact. So it is very interesting to work in that environment, and being sensible and sensitive to the environment is something we wanted to be try. And the general terrain is also interesting in it's having plains at certain areas and hills and rocky small mounds and stuff. which is something you don't see any other part of the country. So yeah, it's a new experience altogether.
And could you take us through a little bit about the idea of the building and really what the effort was to create in the sense of what the program was for the building? Could you share some highlights related to that?
Can you come again?
Yeah, so my question was related to the particular building. Could you share some thoughts in terms of what was the brief of the building and really what was the expression that you aimed to achieve for the building?
Okay. So as I said, during COVID, I got this invitation, and it was a pristine, untouched landscape. So whatever coming in the vicinity was like in terms of construction was like becoming an eyesore. So we didn't want to contribute to that aspect. So we thought we'll do some kind of trick to hide the building, and it there is a lot of ways to hide the building, and I was excited about to use some earthen construction to because natural state colors generally can be used to camouflage. So earthen buildings was one of the easiest option for that. And there was an abandoned quarry in the vicinity. There is lots of quarries in the region, and there was one very close by, so waste was spread everywhere. So it was easy to get waste or get attracted to use the waste of quarry and yeah, do the building. And primarily, I was very excited to do a very modern building because I was doing it for a decade, and I don't want to like distract by doing any kind of unnecessary addition to uh, the building, so that whatever the buildings or the walls want to express when someone enters the property, it shouldn't be diluted. So the walls itself are supposed to speak for itself. So they have their stories to tell. How the boulders came onto the wall, why the boulders came onto the wall, what it is representing. So, so there is a lot of queries and a conversation happening between a visitor and the wall, and it is the initial idea or the composition we intended to realize. Yeah.
A key aspect of the building is the debris wall construction that has been used. And in the past, it's quite common to see, or fairly common to see, rammed earth walls, etc., that have been created for various applications and structures. In your case, there has been a little bit, a debris wall has been attempted. Could you share some insights in terms of what makes for a debris wall, or really how does one go about building it? And also the challenges and possibly benefits or even drawbacks related to such kind of a construction, because that really is a unique aspect which has not been seen very often before. So if you could take us through that element of the building.
Okay. So first of all, I am not a technique person. I am more excited about design and stuff. So these things, techniques and materials are something which is used right for the composition. And regarding the powdered debris wall, which is the dominant feature of the Flintstone 6, it was initially the idea of debris wall to be used, but debris wall is a dry mix, and it will take enough resource in terms of manpower to uh, ram and ram and execute. So we thought we'll use a mix which is consistency similar to uh, concrete, so that the workability factor is dealt neatly. So that is how poured earth and debris wall came into the fusion. It is an innovation from my mentor Vinrani, and we happened to work together in few earlier projects, like you mentioned, Binale and stuff. So it was a easy choice for me to use it. And then coming to the product, we used quarry waste as the debris, which was predominantly lying around and easily accessible. And as I mentioned, using waste was exciting because there was limited resources at that point. And uh, rocks placed was a part of an art for it. Regarding challenges, we were excited to discover each challenges every day, and I can't like point one by one. There is a lot of innovation happened to it, like when you use a metal, how to avoid getting contact with the mud and uh, oxidize, all those things. Similarly, when you how can you arrest the movement of stones when you place, even if it's a piece of art. Uh, so a lot of challenges were there. I can't pick point one by one, but uh, we even trained local laborers to uh, get expertise in earth and construction. They were uh, maybe their previous generation was mainly doing earthen construction. We could see a lot of earthen buildings in their villages, but whatever new buildings, everything is concrete and painted bright. And if you know Tamil Nadu, when you go into rural Tamil Nadu, you will see bright buildings because they also follow the current trend of modern buildings, is what I understand. So we want to give them and teach them so that they will also uh, go back and do for themselves, start using these earthen technologies, which once they have been using it a lot. So that was one part. And next challenge was, I remember protecting the walls from the weathering and stuff was another challenge. So we had to do a bit of research about how to uh, handle the wear and tear, weathering, all those factors affecting the walls. And yeah.
So in your case, really the material used for the debris construction has been the stone quarry, which was, or the stone waste that you got from the quarries nearby. Just to kind of brainstorm a little, and I assume this is uh, interchangeable, as in debris could be of a variety of constitutions in terms of what one could use as a possible medium. Uh, in urban and semi-urban contexts where there is possibly no stone quarry nearby, do you think there could be other alternates that could go into such kind of debris wall constructions uh, for people to experiment and use?
Yes, thing is, it's all depend on context of what waste you have. You have to look thoroughly because, especially in Indian context, you have enough ways to explore. And in an urban context, if you don't know where to look into, at least go to a scrapyard. You will find a number of options. So you have metal waste, you have plastic waste, paper waste, ceramic, glass, electronic waste, automobile industry waste, appliances industry waste. So there is n number of options you can use it. How to use it? If you want to use it for wall, if you want to use it for furniture, it's all up to you. We have reused a lot of wood which was like which you can get it from nearby markets. So for furnitures, yeah, we have used few metal members which was uh, used initially for product, then again went to flooring, then roofing. We have used uh, all the TMT bars which was initially used for product debris wall foam work. So it was reused and repurposed going on and off throughout the construction. Even whatever came out of it have been moved to next site for reusing it. So yeah.
So also an interesting element for us is the
Did I
roof.
answer your question correctly?
Yes, I think so. I think quite clearly. The roof in the case of Flintstone 6 is also a very interesting element. I assume that it needed to be very light or fairly light so as to not exert too much pressure on the debris wall. But the composition of the roof structure and the way it has been constructed is also very unique. Could you take us through that in terms of how it has been constructed and what the idea behind that was?
So initial idea of the roof was to lighten the roof because we didn't use any columns or we know even if it's a heavy concrete roof, the walls can take it, but the beams will be heavier with a span of 8 meters, and we don't want that much beam popping out. We wanted to lighten the roof by using metal hollow section. So uh, when you have uh, metal hollow section as the roof, still you will need an uh, like too much of metal beams. So to lessen the number of metal beams, we have to use larger or longer wood or some alternatives which can hold the weight of the roof. So Casuarina was the easy option. We have tried it earlier in a project. So it was at least of 6-inch thick wood and 5 meters long. And the composition is done in such a way that first Casuarina will be laid and over it ferrocement roof will be installed. So you will get a fairly thin concrete layer over Casuarina, which easily will be workable because Casuarina is not a very high strength wood. And regarding the glazed sundial area, so we were initially planned to give the whole roof as a party terrace. So while we were installing Casuarina wood, one of the site engineer was excited to see this sundial happening, light play and the play of light and shadow was happening on the walls. And since the walls have the bulges, it was not very even. It was like unevenly spread, and it was very beautiful. So we were excited to retain it. So glass was the only option for it. And we thought of using low energy glass, low E glass. It's called low E glass to lessen the heat load, heat gain inside the house. Yeah. So that was these two types of roof we used. One was accidental discovery, one was planned to lighten the load. Yeah.
And you also mention and talk about the idea of having an inverted stair room in this project. Could you highlight that a little bit in terms of the idea behind doing that and how that came about?
So inverted stair room is my favorite part of this building. It's a very simple solution, but we were stuck for some time to get a solution because we didn't want to like build another story just for stair room. We were limiting every building to a single story, so that neighbor won't get a hindrance of their our building becoming a hindrance in their view. So anyway, we are hiding the building, and finally a piece protruding out, becoming an eyesore is something you don't want. So finally, we came up with this solution of like making the stair room as part of exterior, and allowing the rains to come and uh, flow through drains and get it out of the building. Was very uh, yeah, exciting.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a visual here, but maybe I will post it later on our feed to show people this stair room that you have conceived. A thought I had, Fawaz, is that it appears that the entire effort at your end has been to repurpose and reuse and and really focus on this aspect and not really specify products or purchase or import products, etc., to actually build this project. I just was wondering, do you think there is, and this really is an example of an alternate approach to creating a residence. It's an alternate style, of course, and it has a very unique charm of its own, which makes it, of course, aspirational. Do you think there isn't enough such effort happening in the country to showcase these alternate sort of typologies that one can adopt in their own constructions or in their own residences? Do you think we need to do more as a profession to highlight the viability of such kind of an approach?
The question is very long, so I'll answer one by one. Yeah. So firstly, reuse and repurpose naturally came as a part of the culture of sustainability. It was not like consciously went along, and we didn't like we didn't set a set a set a plan to pick each thing how to make it sustainable. It wasn't like that. We went along with the composition, and we discovered certain things, and we just continued the pursuit. It just went along with our pursuit of doing a good building. That's it. Secondly, regarding your question of if I believe architects are doing enough, or can you reiterate the question once again? Because
my question was that is there enough awareness being created by the profession to attempt such buildings, or are we always following the straight and narrow and replicating what has been happening? I mean, this is clearly a departure from that. So my question was, is there something more that we need to do as a profession to showcase the value of such kind of efforts?
definitely there need to be a lot of effort to be done, but doesn't mean it isn't happening. It is happening. It has to like pace up, and a lot more activities based focusing on doing sustainable practice as well as a good sustainable building, and primarily it has to reach the larger population, not just to the architects. So there need to be some kind of system where whatever we do for the awareness of green building, or betterment of the planet, future of the planet, it has to reach to the larger population in a very industry specific manner, not just in generally going. They can go with electric cars, and they can feel they are going green with their daily life, but when they build something, they may not be excited about doing some earthen building, because they have really a notion that it is a cheaper product, or it doesn't last long. So these kind of things can be addressed in forums where you incorporate the general public yeah, that is what I feel. Regarding in the profession, yeah, obviously you can't ask everybody to practice green practice. You have to make them move towards by your actions or like examples. I think policy makers should be more aware of the alarming situation, and they should do some work uh, in the uh, in the lawmaking itself, so that there is more uh, concerns addressed regarding the uh, environmental issues. Yeah.
Because I think to take on efforts such as what you have attempted, I mean, these kinds of techniques or processes and practices or methodologies, really, they are not taught in architectural colleges, or most studios don't have this skill set or the understanding of how to build in such a way. So I think really my question possibly is to you is there going to be an effort of more workshops and more training programs and more open houses, etc., to invite students and young architects, etc., or even people who are interested to learn? So I don't know if anybody is listening to the program would like any other questions. So feel free to drop them in the question box. But the questions that I had for you really essentially, is this something that your studio is looking at actively doing to kind of sensitize people to such an alternate kind of approach?
Yeah, we do, and we also associate with like wall makers to do workshops. I've been doing a few workshops with them, and once or twice annually, and it will be published uh, in our pages, the dates and the admission procedures and stuff. And a lot of people are doing it, and whoever is interested to try alternate techniques, it is a good time, at least. It's not late to try and try in your build, try the workshop and apply in your building. And I would like to add, if you in our workshop, it is not about technique. You will have more takeaways. Like these are our we have been fighting with ourselves how to do a better product, how to learn from laymen and masons and all the people around who are not even in the profession. So you have a lot of takeaway in that aspect as well. That is what I would say for our workshop. Yeah.
So we have a question that a listener has posed, that is there some information or some more information related to where can one register for such this workshop, or where does even one go to look? Is this released on your socials, or where does one know when a workshop is being planned?
It will be usually released on social handles. So yeah.
So I guess maybe otherwise an option could be they could follow your profile, and I'm sure you would release the dates, etc. as to
Yeah,
when.
these days you won't miss anything. It will be notified in your mobile, so it's not a worry actually.
So I'd like to thank you, Fawaz. The work is truly spectacular, and it is something that one sees, that I personally see very few examples of such work that is so well constructed. It has a clear intent, is done in a way that demonstrates innovation, is contextual. I mean, it has many things that are working for this project. So our compliments to you, and I'm sure the listeners as well have, or viewers have enjoyed seeing this project. So I'd like to thank you once again for being part of this program and sharing your wonderful work with us. And we look forward to seeing many more such projects of yours in the near future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words. Yeah.
Thank you, Fawaz. Have a nice evening, and thank you to everyone who listened into this program. And we plan to do this every fortnight on Fridays. So do tune in for the next session, and we look forward to catching up with you guys again. Thank you so much, Fawaz. Have a nice day.